In poker, tensions often run high, but sometimes players take it way too far. From dirty tricks to straight verbal abuse, these are the 10 most disrespectful moments in poker history. Strap in and let's get right into it. And in our first clip, you're about to see one of the most disgusting slow rolls of all time. Slow rolling, deliberately stalling with the best hand, is one of poker's ultimate sins. At best, it's a pathetic breach of etiquette. At worst, it's outright trolling. We're at the 2010 World Cup of Poker, an annual poker tournament where national teams compete in a series of events. The members of each team take turns playing each other. If a player gets knocked out, his whole team is eliminated. Each team is allowed to call one timeout, during which a player can leave the table and discuss a difficult hand with his colleagues before making his decision. But, as you're about to see next, one player decided to use his timeout for a different reason. This hand began with Luca Pagano, captain of Italy, going for the open raise. Sasha Cornils, for Germany, wakes up with pocket aces and raises it up to 8,000 chips. Darius Suharto, playing for the Canadian national team, moves all in with pocket kings, and the action folds around back to Cornils. The only decent thing to do in a spot like this is to snap call. But watch what this guy does instead. Cornils calls the timeout for no apparent reason, walks up to the rail and has a chat with his buddies, and his opponent is just sitting there, waiting. After a full minute, he finally comes back and makes the call. Suharto is a good sport and just laughs it off. If I were in his shoes, I'd be furious to say the least.
We're going to need the UN to resolve this one.
Now, if Yan were a brilliant coach, he would say the only way we can spin this is that you're doing it to be funny.
No one's going to buy that. So unless there is a king on the river, the Germans double up and survive.
King on the river. King on the river. River card.
Pocket aces hold up for Cornils, and the whole poker community is appalled by the young German's behavior. Apparently, he later apologized to the Canadian team, buying them a beer. This was an absolutely disgusting slow roll, but this next one really gives it a run for its money. What you're about to see next is the most famous, or rather the most infamous, slow roll in poker history. We're at the 2015 Irish Open main event. The Irish Poker Open is the longest running no-limit hold'em poker tournament in Europe and second longest in the world after the World Series of Poker. So we're actually down to the final table of the event now, and the Irish pro Dinasha O'Dea opens the action with ace-6 suited, raising it up to 2 big blinds. A German amateur, Andreas Gahn, makes the call with king-queen suited from the small blind. Pretty standard spot so far, but just wait till you see the flop here. An absolutely insane flop. O'Dea flops 2 pair, and Gahn makes the nuts flush. O'Dea makes the standard c-bet, and now just look how long it takes Andreas to make the call here. I guess Andreas may have had 1 Guinness too many before the event, but after an eternity, the guy eventually makes the call, and the whole table is absolutely disgusted. But in an amazing turn of events,
it's coming. Come on, the ace for the 6.
What?
Oh my God.
Look at the reaction from Michael Wang.
Idiot.
What are you doing, sir?
That is disgraceful.
On your bike.
It's going to kick off here.
Yeah, and Kevin Killeen is absolutely
That's
spot
not
on
okay.
to tackle him. Absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Any ace or any 6 will be cheered by the world of the internet.
Aus Deutschland.
If there's any justice here.
6.
Yeah, the table are giving him a right going over, and rightly so too.
I like it. He's doing this to the gentleman, an absolute legend of Irish poker.
A hero of the game, an icon of the game.
Liam Flood will be looking down here, funking for that ace or 6 so bad.
4 outs for Dunica for the justice of card.
I have no idea what Andreas was
That
doing
is
there.
just shameful. I cannot believe that.
And look at the Don.
Flopping the
Don
nuts.
remains composed.
Flopping the nuts.
He's
Probably the only player who hasn't
Straight.
said anything.
Exactly, yeah. He's letting everyone else do it. He's such a gent. Come on.
7 of clubs on the turn.
Come on. On your bike, Germany.
Any 4 for any justice here. It's an ace or a 6 on the river.
the poker poker gods actually deliver swift and brutal justice. And if you're wondering, this slow roll wasn't really an accident. Gon apparently did it on purpose to increase the drama of the moment. According to him, he wasn't even aware this sort of behavior was frowned upon. It wasn't his intention to be disrespectful, and he later apologized to Odeya. Odeya, being the gentleman as always, graciously accepted the apology. In the end, Gon finished the event in 8th place, and Odeya finished 6th. Speaking of instant karma, wait till you see this next hand. So, our next hand comes from day 4 of the 2016 Aussie Millions main event, and the pressure is mounting. The money bubble has burst, but for the players still in, every chip counts, and so does every decision. Dylan Honeyman open raises with ace-2 offsuit under the gun. Mikkel Hab gets dealt pocket kings in the small blind. He goes for a tiny 3-bet, trying to induce the action from other players. Samantha Abernathy takes the bait though, and given that Hab has a relatively short stack left behind, she goes on the offensive here. Abernathy moves all in with pocket 6s, and the action folds around back to Hab. So here, any decent human being would make a snap call, I think, but watch what this guy does instead. And if you're sitting there thinking that Hab is actually agonizing over a call because he thinks Sam could be holding pocket aces, think again. One might actually give Hab the benefit of the doubt if it weren't for his behavior through the rest of the hand. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he 100% did it on purpose.
He's truly thinking about this? You can see Sam is kind of disgusted here. Oh my god. I have never called for any kind of cards in any situation, but come on, 6 for justice. That's kind of a brutal slow roll there. I mean, oh my god. We're gonna need a 6 here. Sam needs a 6 and only a 6, or she's gonna lose a huge percentage of her stack. 10. Sam needs to find a 6 and a 6 only here. Oh my god. Oh, 6 on the river. Ship it to mama. Oh my lord.
Alright, so just to recap, angle shooting, check. Slow rolling, check. Showboating, check. It seems that you can only push your luck so far before you incur the wrath of the poker gods. Slow rolling is rude and disrespectful to say the least, and it wastes everyone's precious time. And while we're on the topic of wasting time, wait till you see this next hand. We're at day 5 of the 2023 WSOP main event, and we have a big pot brewing between Jacob Sachs and Nicholas Rigby. Jacob Sachs has ace-2 suited in the hijack, and Rigby is holding ace-7 suited in the small blind. With more than 500,000 chips in the middle, this could be a crucial hand for both players this deep into the main event. Both players missed the flop, but Sachs does have an inside straight draw. Rigby checks the turn, and Sachs has the opportunity to take a stab at the pot, but he decides to check back and see a free river card. And he gets there on the river. Sachs has the stone cold nuts, and best of all, his hand strength is very well concealed, given that he's checked the turn. Now he can only hope Rigby has caught a piece of the board and has something to pay him off with. Rigby goes for a big bluff on the river, firing almost a full pot bet. Sachs immediately moves all in with his made straight. Holding only ace high, there's no way Rigby is going to make the call here, and any decent player would instantly fold their hand. But just watch what Rigby does instead.
Does block 7-6 ace deuce the nuttier hands that Sachs would like to snap shove with? I mean, you're gonna have to take over.
I mean, this just is a situation where I think Rigby is more just thinking, why couldn't I help myself from just checking the river? But also
on the turn.
He did.
Yeah, just doesn't understand the check back on the turn out of Sachs and then the
Be
snapshot
reckless enough to bluff here.
because he thinks that Sachs would have bet a lot of other hands on the turn with the flush draw and straight draw out there. Hands that he thinks if it had a 7 beat wouldn't have checked back the turn. But also, I just really don't think that the way that things have gone down at this point, that Rigby is on the top of anybody's list of people to bluff.
What really does it for me in this clip is Rigby's stoic cap. I'm sure Marcus Aurelius would be proud to see this. After a full 5 minutes, the floor is called and Rigby finally mucks his hand. Not a great look for Rigby, but in the end, the only damage done was wasting everyone's time. But the same can't be said for this next hand. So what you're about to see next is arguably the most disgusting angle shoot of all time. This one I think requires a bit of context. So before this hand, Ivan Freitas was already known for pulling dirty tricks like purposely announcing wrong actions in order to make his hand look weak and induce a call from his opponents. For example, he would often say, "I raise," quickly following it up with, "Sorry, I call." The poker rules clearly state that all verbal actions are binding, and the first action announced would stand. The point is, Freitas knows this well, meaning he's purposely doing it to confuse his opponents. And this is exactly what he did in the 2011 EPT Grand Final. Out of the 686 entries, only 10 players remain at the final two tables. The winner will take home a whopping 1.5 million euros, so the stakes couldn't be higher. Freitas has the chip lead, and he opens the action with 6-5 suited. Eugene Yanate defends his big blind with king-queen, and we go heads up to the flop. Freitas goes for the standard continuation bet, and Yanate flat calls with his top pair. On the turn, Freitas improves to 3 of a kind, and he checks behind to conceal his hand strength. Freitas improves to a full house on the river, giving him the effective stone cold nuts. The only hand he could lose to is pocket kings, but given the way his opponent played, it's almost impossible for him to have pocket kings, because he would likely 3-bet them instead of calling pre-flop. Yanate leads out, confident his 2 pairs are good. Now, just watch what Freitas does next.
A little Hollywooding, maybe.
Raise.
Raise coming.
I'm sorry, I call.
What?
I call.
You said raise.
You announced raise.
Speak English.
You announced raise.
No speak English. No way he meant to just call with a full house. That was not a mistake.
Thomas Krems has been called to the table.
I believe we're looking at an angle shoot here. Freitas knows the rule is that his raise must stand.
Wow, you see that?
And I think he's trying to make it look like he didn't want to raise, so he'll get a call out of Eugene.
I think this is exactly the same situation that we had already in this tournament, when you did exactly the same move and you had the nuts. I just share this information with you. Okay?
Wow, Freitas has got previous for this.
You understand? So I force you to raise now, and you have the option what you do. But you need to put in another 275.
I think this is well handled by Thomas Kremser.
He's forcing Freitas to min raise, but he's told Eugene Unite that this is a move that Freitas makes when he's got a monster.
So
Because of what happened before.
oh, do you force him to min raise? Yeah. Okay.
It's not my option whether or not he raises. It's my option what to do now, right? That's what you're saying. Okay, I understand.
Armed with that information, does Eugene Unite now fold top pair?
I know we're not supposed to actively root for players, but I sure hope he mucks. Make Freitas look like a chump.
He makes the call. Freitas shows the full house.
Same situation.
Yeah, no, I know. I heard about this before the tournament started.
So ugly, I can tell you.
Ugly. Move was so dirty, feel like I need a shower.
I heard about this guy a week ago. I heard about this guy a week ago.
I've never seen Thomas Kremser look so disgusted.
This isn't Freitas' first offense here, and the floor just decides to step in. Unfortunately, karma doesn't always work out at the poker table, as Freitas actually ended up winning the event. I guess being the villain sometimes pays off. Freitas' angle shoot earned him disgusting glares from the whole table, but some players are a lot more vocal about expressing their grievances for their breach of poker etiquette. Alright, next up, Phil Hellmuth and Tony G square off in the big game. Tony G goes for a double straddle, and Phil Hellmuth looks down at ace-jack in the big blind. He goes for the open raise, and the action folds back to Tony G. What happens next is one of the most iconic clashes in poker history.
Sure he looked.
Well, you can't be all in 66.
Tony repots it with ace-king.
All right. You slow down. You slow down a bit. Are you going to save the rest?
Not if he believes you haven't looked. Hellmuth now facing a raise and an angle shot.
It's hard to believe that you always have a hand against me.
Look, you could see the flop and get rid of it as well. Right? You could play good.
Without looking too?
I'm not looking. I haven't looked. I don't care. I know it's a random hand, and I got a random hand.
Wow, all that talking makes me think he's strong. I was for sure going to call before that.
15 on top, Tony.
He's saying he hasn't looked though.
He most certainly looked. Did no one see him?
He's saying he didn't look.
Yeah, you wouldn't lie, Tony, would you?
I wouldn't lie. You can
There you
check
go.
my hand if you want. You can tell him the truth.
You didn't look
I
at
haven't
either
looked.
card.
I haven't looked.
You promise?
Ask Joe. I mean, I haven't
I
looked.
can't say anything, but
I'm not going to look.
that's between you and Phil.
He says he hasn't looked. He hasn't looked.
I didn't
Do you believe him? He said he hasn't looked. Only Joe looked.
Did you look at your cards at all? I mean, it's...
Look, the people at home know I haven't looked.
After a while, Phil takes the bait and Tony shows him the bad news. Phil reprimands Tony for a breach of etiquette, which is hilariously ironic coming from Phil's mouth, right? They decide to run it 3 times, giving Phil a chance to get at least some of his chips back. A jack of clubs comes on the first run out, which is terrible news for Phil. Now, he only has 2 effective outs left to win on the next 2 runouts. Tony scoops up another chunk of the pot on the second run out, and it's not looking good for Phil. Ironically, Phil does get a jack on the last run out, but it's all for nothing. All things considered, Phil took the loss pretty well, at least for his standards. But the same can't be said for this next hand. We're at the 2010 WSOP main event, and we're in the middle of a huge pot between Phil and Adam Levi. Phil open raises with pocket 8s from the early position, and Adam Levi flat calls with Queen 10 suited in the cutoff. The flop is Jack 9-6 with a hearts flush draw, and Phil makes a standard half pot continuation bet. Levi makes the call with his open-ended straight draw. And the turn is the absolute worst card for Phil. He improves to a set, but unfortunately for him, Levi now has the stone cold nuts. Phil goes for a tricky line, and he decides to slow play his set. Now with 2 flush draws on the board, Levi doesn't want to give Phil a free card, so he takes a stab at the pot, firing just under a half pot bet. Phil makes the call, still confident he has the best hand. The river is a complete brick, giving Phil no reason to suspect his set isn't good here. He bets out 60,000, a relatively modest bet size, and then Levi hits him with bad news. Phil recoils for a second, but there's no way he's letting go of his set here. What happens next is a classic Helmuth blowup.
Queen 10. Yeah, Levy with the Queen 10 and the win.
Called a race with a... He called a race with Queen 10, honey.
I know, honey. He's some online guy.
I had a set. He's supposed to bust me anyway. Called a race with a Queen 10.
I think he's from Florida or someplace stupid.
Called a race with Queen 10. Idiot player.
Actually, he doesn't look like an idiot player, and I don't think he did anything wrong that hand.
He called a race with Queen 10. How do these players, how are they even still in this tournament?
They let him in every day.
And I have a set.
I know you had a set, Puddin'.
It's just unbelievable. This kid probably won't last another hour.
Half hour tops.
I promise. Watch. He called a race with a queen and a 10.
A queen and a 10.
How do these players even last this long?
Don't know.
I mean, it's just so sick. They have no concept of poker.
It was an aggressive call.
Aggressive call? Idiot.
Levi shrugs off Phil's antics here, and in a later interview, he admitted Phil's 2-minute tirade felt like an eternity, but he figured the best way to react was just to not react at all, pretending like it didn't really bother him. But in this next clip, the poker brat finally gets some pushback from his opponent. We're at the WSOP main event again, and an amateur player, Christian Dragomir, makes a creative raise with 10-4 suited. Around this time, Phil was known to be very selective with his pre-flop hand selection. Some may go so far as to call him a nit. So when he sees Dragomir getting involved with a mediocre hand like this, you know he's not going to be too thrilled about it. Across the table, Phil looks down at Ace-King, a premium hand in any situation, especially deep in the tournament run. Phil goes for the standard 3-bet, albeit a slightly small one. Dragomir calls the 3-bet, and Phil is already fuming. The flop is 10-9-7 with a flush draw, a terrible board for Phil. Not only did he miss the flop completely, he also doesn't have anything going in terms of draws. On the other hand, this board is great for Dragomir's calling range, as he should have way more middle pairs in his range compared to Phil's 3-betting range. Phil goes for a very aggressive check, and Dragomir is preparing to take a stab at the pot with his top pair. This is already enough to send Phil spiraling. Dragomir bets 300,000 chips, slightly over half a pot bet. Of course, Phil can't possibly call here, and he knows he's beat, but he's not quite done with Dragomir yet.
He put in like only 150.
Mike, you tell him what
Show him the 3-8 offsuit or something. 10-4, baby.
Phil is stunned.
That was worth the price of admission.
And everybody gangs up on Phil.
This is how I lose my money to some idiot.
He's now said idiot 2 times too many.
I'm going to tell you something, buddy. You want to hear what I have to say? This is
No, after you learn some manners, yes.
Forget it. Forget it. Buddy, you're an idiot, is what you are.
That's 3 times.
This is the state of poker.
But I'm an idiot with a stack. you don't have a stack. Whatever.
Someone puts in $400,000 with 10-4, and the crowd celebrates like it's a good play. This is the state of poker. The guy is the worst player in history, and they're cheering. You are an idiot.
4 times.
Did you see what this idiot just did?
5.
Man.
He played with a 10-4, Mike.
I had enough of that. This is the 10th time. You are an idiot. Come on, what is this?
Dragomir fighting back.
What is the 10th time? What is this?
I apologize, but I don't like the way you play poker. That's all.
Whatever.
That's
I
all
don't want you playing poker.
I won't say anything more than you.
I don't want you
Phil,
playing
way
poker.
out of line
You're the
here.
worst player around. I won't call you. Let's go.
Playing my
You won't
hand.
last 10 minutes tomorrow, I don't think, to be honest.
It cost me, it cost me like 10 grand to get in this tournament. It cost you nothing. So just leave me blow away my 10,000, okay?
A terrible display of bad sportsmanship for sure. But this next player actually gives Phil a run for his money. Next up, we have Luke Schwartz squaring off against David Benjamin. For some reason, Kermit the Frog also makes an appearance in this hand. I guess some players really take concealing their tells seriously. Schwartz is known for his over-the-top trash talk, but in this hand, he takes it to a whole new level. Schwartz limps into the pot with pocket jacks. Not really a standard play unless you plan on doing something very creative, which is exactly what Schwartz has in mind. David Benjamin limps behind with 6-5 offsuit, showing he's not overly impressed with Luke's antics. Vanessa Rousseau is in the big blind, and she decides to see a free flop with 4-3 suited. Schwartz flops an overpair and decides to lead out for $30,000, just over half pot bet. Benjamin makes the call, assuming Schwartz is just spewing off his chips. Vanessa also makes the call with her open-ended straight draw. The king on the turn slows down the action, but it doesn't prevent Schwartz from running his mouth a bit more. Benjamin does go for a big bet, and Rousseau gets out of the way. The action is back on Schwartz, so just watch what he does next.
So sick I flopped a set, or a king I flush draw.
It's not binding.
I just feel to push just because he's such a tilter.
Is it binding or what is it? No.
So sick that you got a king high flush draw, innit? What a joke. Joke. You know what, yeah, I'm so confident in my heads up game. Yeah. Do me then, whatever, innit?
At least you put your money where your mouth was.
Yeah, whatever. Nice level. Yeah, and what then? Look, I've got 2 jacks here. You don't think I mess about? My heads up game, I'll beat everyone in this whole party poker. It don't matter if I'd come there. It don't matter. Look at this. I'm sitting out for 5 hours. In your eye, David Benjamin, you arrogant guy. You think you can angle me? You just got so pwned, it's a joke.
In the end, he did manage to get under Benjamin's skin. But when it comes to trash talking your opponents, nobody does it better than Tony G. This last clip is vintage Tony G, and in my opinion, this has to be the best or worst display of trash talk ever recorded at the Felt. This hand comes from the 2006 Intercontinental Poker Championship, where Tony G squares off against Ralph Perry. As an adult, lifelike version of Eric Cartman limps in with ace-2 suited, and Perry is sitting in the big blind with king-jack offsuit. Let's get started, shall we? He raises it up, and Tony puts him all in. Now, just watch what happens next.
Tony G got to Ralph Perry. Wow. You play very well. You play very, very well. I cannot see Ralph Perry calling anybody else in this situation.
You're a champion. Send you back to Russia.
And the flop? Pair of deuces now for Tony G, and Ralph Perry is in trouble.
Drawing semi-dead on the flop. Putting all his money in with King Jack calling. This is not someone to learn from.
Ralph Perry needs a king or a jack. 7 on the turn.
Pair the board, baby.
Ralph
Teach
Perry
him a good lesson here.
is down to the river. Needs a king or a jack.
Yeah! Yeah, baby! Come on, Russian, get out. It's time to go. Yeah! Look at this. Look how he's doing. Look how he's playing. Look how ugly this is. You're a professional player, and I can do this to you. You're a terrible player. This is disgraceful.
Of course, it really wouldn't be a Tony G clip without his signature catchphrase.
Put you covered like a baby. Up and away. Up and away. Come on. On your bike. On your bike.
Despite the assault, Ralph Perry taking the high road.
Whether you like it or not, trash talking is an essential part of poker. But sometimes it can get ugly and even violent. So, if you want to see what happens when trash talking goes too far and poker gets physical, make sure to watch this video next. We'll see you there.